For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We are back with yet another broadcast to focus on life in St. Lucia and indeed the rest of the world as we welcome you to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We hope you're having yourself a fantastic Tuesday. We go up until 2 o'clock with your calls at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Our question of the day is worth focusing on very early. Why is St. Lucia still a relatively peaceful nation? Why is St. Lucia still a relatively peaceful nation? I think you have been commenting on our NewsSpin Facebook page. And what would have prompted me to pose that question to you? Well, I borrowed it from the island's Prime Minister, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, during his independence address over the weekend, saying that St. Lucia is still a relatively peaceful nation. Do you agree? Because I don't want to come across as a pessimist, but I do have my doubts. Let us listen to a little bit of the Prime Minister when he did state categorically that St. Lucia is still a relatively peaceful nation.
I am aware of the challenges of this hostile world. However, St. Lucia remains a relatively peaceful and desirable place to live and recreate. I am aware of the challenges of this hostile world. However, St. Lucia remains a relatively peaceful and desirable place to live and recreate.
Relatively peaceful place that people can work and recreate. As I said moments ago, I have my doubts. And this is not me being deliberately a pessimist. I am just being realistic. And the evidence is there to indicate that St. Lucia has lost its reputation as a peaceful nation. We once stood out for this in among many other Caribbean nations, including the likes of Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. We were relatively a peaceful country. But unfortunately, we have lost this. And this is reflected in the level of criminal activity and violence that is occurring in St. Lucia almost on a daily basis. I received a call a few days ago, and somebody came across as being very incensed and frustrated, hurt as well, that a woman, disabled woman, crippled woman, confined, I'm told, to a bed in a community on the island's east coast. And this woman in her 40s was raped. And this, I think, occurred on Friday of last week. And there are so many such incidents that are occurring in this country that is seldom reported. And we're no longer shocked when we hear things of that nature occurring, even when it involves somebody who is bedridden, or a senior citizen, or it involves a minor. This is what life has come to in this part of the world. So that is why I have my doubts when I hear the Prime Minister say that this is still a relatively peaceful nation. And I think he would say, well, the key word there is relatively. It's not absolutely the Garden of Eden or the most peaceful country beyond all the world. Claim to be on the verge of being a country that is in chaos. We are just about one of the most chaotic countries in the Caribbean. And unfortunately, there isn't much hope on the horizon based on our behavior as citizens, the performance of our various leaders, whether it is in the public sector or the private sector. Which takes me to this heart-wrenching incident which occurred on Sunday evening in Poleon Dennery. I mean, there have been a couple instances over the last few years, but of late with greater frequency, of one sibling killing another, mostly a male killing another male. But to really listen to the relatives of Augustine Ford, including his wife, his children, his sister, heart-wrenching neighbors, saying that he has been in this bad relationship with a sibling, a brother, and he has made countless reports, that is according to the relatives, to the police, seeking the police intervention because he believed at the time that he was being pestered by a younger sibling, but to no avail. It is unacceptable. It is tragic that very often in St. Lucia, and we've had so many such accounts being made, reports are made to the police seeking the intervention of law enforcement personnel, and somehow they are reluctant to intervene. We've heard it before. You make a threat or you issue a threat, You can be arrested. You can be charged. But how often would the police act when such reports are made? And then no sooner the threat is carried out. And a 66-year-old man, from what we heard, law-abiding citizen by all accounts, being pestered by another sibling, and we heard that claims and charges of jealousy, wanting him to sell a boat to another sibling, etc. And all of a sudden, he does not suffer the death that we're normally accustomed to as a result of the use of a firearm by an assailant. He is also hacked to death in the process. And his poor wife, identified as Lily Ford, speaking to the police, not the police, sorry, but to reporters on the scene of that incident, had to give an account as to relieve the tragedy all over again. It is for there to be an incident where somebody, maybe an acquaintance, a friend, a neighbor, were to hack somebody to death. But if it is happening at the hands of a sibling, a brother, that makes the situation 10,000 times worse. Let's listen to Lily Ford.
My husband was there fixing to Miss Blower for somebody, and I was standing right here with him. And his brother come from there, his brother go down there, and when he coming back, he will look in my husband that kind of way. Okay, but my husband didn't take that for nothing. If he had tell my husband, well, I going at my home and I coming back for you, maybe my husband will do something else. But when he coming back, I see he coming back with a long gun. Okay, and when I tell my husband, watch out, he had time to shoot my husband there. And when my husband caught up, my husband passed behind his son, and my husband ran down there. He still gave me another shot, but I ran too. But I didn't know where he took the last shot. And when my husband ran, my husband fall in the drain by my home. He take a cutlass and he chopped my husband in his head.
And as we normally hear, police are conducting investigations. But could this incident have been avoided? You think it could have been avoided? I believe it could have, had the police taken the necessary preemptive action. And very often we hear from the police, if you see something, report it. If you have something, report it. But the police seem a little too busy on most occasions to act upon those cries coming from sections of the society for their intervention. And that is why some people prefer to take matters into their own hands. Don't blame people when they do this from time to time. Over several years, according to what we heard, Augustine Ford has been making report after report to the police. What happened to those reports? What happened to them? We heard that on occasions the police would try to establish contact with the accused, and somehow he would elude them, and that would be the end of the story. Well, now the police would have to be in hot pursuit of the alleged attacker, preferred charges, guy has to be hauled before the courts, go through the process of delayed sittings of the court, and eventually there might be an outcome. But what we know for a fact is that his 66-year-old victim will not live to see that justice is done. It's a good time to hear from you at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. This is the world's most monitored talk show. It is called NewsSpin. And let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Somebody says there, so what does Pierre expect or want to say? Things are bad? Chaos and mayhem in the streets every day? Can't Pierre see the way we're going? We're heading straight down the path of Trinidad. Only a matter of time. Now is murders openly and in broad daylight. Did we have so much of that in times past? But Philip Pierre's trick is to hide behind the word relative. The time has long passed when we should be sugarcoating things or pretending that we are on the verge of being a failed state. If we assume that posture, if we are of that mindset, the situation will just worsen right under our nose, and we will pretend that there isn't a pungent stench that needs to be attended to. Let's see if we have our first call online. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, team. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Fine, thank you. Amanda, how are you?
Good afternoon, caller. I'm okay.
Yes, team, I agree with you when you said, first of all, it's unfortunate that situation happened at Tenere. The brother killed the other brother. It's very unfortunate. But what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you because if the police had intervened when they make the report, I think like something would have happened. In fact, that wouldn't happen. I don't believe that would happen. Because what I think is that like if somebody threatens you, I think the police should arrest a person. They should take that serious when you make a report. Because you never know if the person could come behind you for true, because these days when somebody threatens you, they come and kill you for true. Someone tell you come and kill you. You can't take chances, I don't think they should take chances. They should come one time, make a report, tend to you one time because people are so serious in this world today. People have a bad mentality, Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Appreciate the contribution, sir. But we've been saying this for an eternity now, We have been saying this for an eternity. And nothing is changing. And we keep talking about the system failing the people. In this particular case, we have to say the police failed Augustine Ford. Because it's not as if he had ignored the problem. He was taking the threats lightly. He did not make reports. He did not turn to the police for the intervention. He did all those things. He did the right things. And yet still, the police did not give it the due attention. And had they done it, he could have been here today, alive today. And who is to say that the status quo will not be maintained? That more people, more men are going to be reporting threats being made to their lives. More women will be making similar reports to the police. And as we are likely to do in this part of the world, they will be ignored and there will not be any level of accountability. The reports were made to which police officers, where, which police stations, why didn't they act upon the request for assistance from the police? What should be done going forward? 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says that, Tim, some police officers are on a sick out. If immigration has to sick out, airports will not. If immigration officers have to go on a sick out, airports will not be able to function. This is against the backdrop of GNT. They did not get into an agreement with the Police Welfare Association. Not even the Independence Parade had a good turnout by the officers. And we hope we'll continue to have some semblance of peace and order in our country. Because even when the police are out there in the numbers, even when they are not in a sick out, that's what we're hearing. We have not received any kind of confirmation from the Police Welfare Association or the Ministry with Responsibility for Home Affairs or the National Security Ministry. Things are out of hand, even when the police officers are out in full numbers. Not only we have to knock on wood, but all of us as citizens, we have to be extremely vigilant if indeed police officers are on a sick out. And we have this Zane Romulus report, which was filed an ed last evening during the DBS News World. In that report, we hear from the president of the PWA, Mr. Cameron Law, and also from the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyer. That issue is an impasse between the PWA and the government negotiating team, because the police officers, they want some kind of allowance that's in lieu of overtime payments. What the government negotiating team is offering can be considered a paltry $150. The police officers initially started by asking for $1,300. This was later revised to $600 and $550, etc. And now the government negotiating team is saying that all they can offer is $150. So the police officers are saying enough is enough. For too long now, we have been given extra hours of service without any kind of compensation.
Members have indicated at this point in time, they are stressed out. They're tired. They're even weak. Mentally, they're tired and weak. And they need to find ways to manage their stress level.
That was the president of the Police Welfare Association, Cameron Law, speaking last Wednesday, the day before a meeting with the government negotiating team, the GNT. Law had hoped that Thursday's meeting would finalize negotiations. However, DBS News understands that negotiations reached a stalemate with PWA members rejecting the amount the GNT proposed for overtime compensation. This impasse has led to apparent industrial action, with police officers staging a seek-out over the weekend, which continued into Monday. Speaking at Monday's pre-cabinet presser, Labour Minister Dr. Virginia Albert confirmed the seek-out among officers.
I am fully aware, and the matter is under discussion. It is unfortunate that the police went public on their negotiations before it's completed, because there are many things the government could have said about negotiations. There are many things that I, as Minister with responsibility for Labour and the public service, could have said. But we respect the negotiation process, and unless there is deadlock between two parties where they cannot move forward from where they are, you do not go public with the matter, because they are in dialogue, they are in negotiations. So I think the police have made an out on the matter by going public on what the issues are, because government too could go public and see what the issues are. But we respect the negotiating process. We allow the government negotiating team to engage the police, and when they have reached a point where they cannot move from where they are, then the matter goes for mediation.
The PWA and the National Workers' Union have both raised strong objections to public announcements made by Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre regarding the negotiations. Last December, the Prime Minister announced at an end-of-year press conference that all trade unions had concluded negotiations. At that time, the PWA, the NWU, and the Correctional Services Welfare Association were prompted to issue statements to their membership indicating that negotiations were ongoing. Last week, in announcing back pay for public servants, the Prime Minister also announced that police officers, as well as daily paid workers, would also receive back pay despite ongoing negotiations with the two parties. Both the PWA and the NWU raised serious concerns about the statement and the future of industrial relations.
The government negotiating team is the one that has to let government know when there is a deadlock in the negotiations. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I have heard, they have not reached a deadlock. So there is still dialogue between the government negotiating team and the other unions that are negotiating. The police has opted not to negotiate trade union for how much he can release, and I do not want to make any pronouncement out of turn.
The apparent industrial action will not create a situation to undermine the security of the nation.
Zane, for this report, which was filed and aired last evening during the DBS News World. Good afternoon to you, Amanda. Let's see what's happening in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. Tim, someone says, welcome back. You had me sick yesterday knowing the conditions of the OKEU hospital. Another comment, why is it that our government ministers are more concerned about responding to critics than responding to the concerns of people of St. Lucia? Bodyguards. Oh please, Mr. Tim, not even PIP was convincing himself fallacious. Another comment reads, Tim, I believe we are relatively still a peaceful nation because... Another comment reads, the PM should have beaten his tongue in his speech, knowing fully well that St. Lucia is not a peaceful state, yet a lie to say it is. Shameful that we have 3 ministers of security with a high violence rate. Comment reads, I think the Ministry of Education needs to develop and implement an anger management course at all schools. Someone says here, well, the saying by those political party hacks who have gone silent since their political party formed the government is that crime is everywhere, high cost of living is a global issue, poor healthcare is not only in St. Lucia, rape is an ongoing issue, so that's not new. Stop crying about this and about that. But when the shoes are off their feet, these very same people are the ones doing the crying about the very same issues that they wanted us to stay silent on.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Let's see if we have a WhatsApp message. It reads, in light of the recent murders of 2 women, did Honorable Poyot really speak about a place to house women in crisis in St. Lucia? The Women's Support Center has been closed since October of 2023. No transport, no staff. Even if the women seek help, where do they house them, particularly those with children? Women are suffering in this place. And also, there is a comment in the chat room. Here is talking. How many times did you go public during negotiations when you were the president of the St. Lucia Teachers Union? Hypocrite. 452-2979, a call on the line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good day, Tim.
Good afternoon to you.
How are you doing?
I am okay, caller.
We missed you yesterday.
The break was necessary, sir.
Yes, I understand. Too much celebration for independence.
A little bit of that.
Yeah, Tim, I am a bit taken aback by the statement made by the minister in the Zane Romulus, was it the Zane Romulus report?
Yes.
How could the minister try and suggest that the police were the ones who stepped out of line if negotiations are still going on? Why did the Prime Minister himself make a statement that negotiations have concluded?
Yeah, he made that observation.
And that they are paying, in other words, the Prime Minister has taken a dictator's approach to say, I'm giving you this whether you want it or not. Because if the police are going to receive their back pay and they've not finalized what the negotiations are, so what is this about him? And here's a minister of government. And are we supposed to have confidence in these people? Are we supposed to believe them when they speak to us, Tim, about anything? I mean, here is the minister, both with responsibility for it's not national security, she said she is the minister responsible for labor.
And gender relations and the public service.
And the public service. And so the government negotiating team would be operating through what is given to them. And we know Tim, this is not new to us, and these people must stop treating, these ministers, like Dr. Poyot, must stop treating St. Lucians as if we all are fools. Because we know very well that when the government sends the negotiating team in, no matter how low or how high they go, they know that they've been given a mandate as to what the latitude of negotiation that they have. Now, for us to be in that kind of a situation, when we have escalating crime, when there is so much happening in this country on the healthcare, and now to have the situation further compounded by the fact that the police are on seek out. Already, Tim, when you call the police, they are not available, they are not in the vehicles, or there's a problem there. the responses, the timely responses, and as you indicated in your preamble, even when reports are made, there's very little follow-up. And when you have a demotivated police force operating under these trying conditions, what is it that is expected of the rest of the population, team? What is becoming of this country? And I heard you made mention of the failed state, team. At what point do we decide that a state is a failed state? Because it looks to me that nothing is working. And the same prime minister who said, hey, I'm not looking for any fight with the police to put things at risk. He is the Minister of National Security, and then you're going to go and make pronouncements, and you want to chastise the Police Welfare Association who's looking after the interests of their members. Now, Tim, how you start from $1,500 and you reach $150? I mean, where now? From what I'm hearing is that based on the information, the negotiations, it looked like from where the Police Welfare Association started, they went down considerably from $1,000.
I think $1,003 to $600, then to $550.
To $550, and now I don't know what the hours, how many hours of overtime would be involved and all of this. But here's the government telling us how well the economy is doing, team. They are talking about growth. They are talking about all of these things. So if you want us to believe that the economy is doing so well, why can't you pay the people what they are asking for? And I don't mean what they're asking for in terms of the $1,300 thing. But at least if it gets to somewhere reasonable, based on what the Prime Minister is saying, we can ill afford, team, to have any semblance of disruption in law enforcement at this point in time, given how brazen criminals have become in this country. Can you imagine if the fellas know if they call a police, if you call a police, nothing will happen? So take the situation, and I extend my condolences to the family in Dennery and all other families who for this year have lost loved ones. Was it last month that the government was making a comparison between the month of January 2024 to January 2025?
It was done. And I think I thought then it was an unwise thing to do.
It was unwise, Tim. It's very unwise. There is no reason to celebrate whether we have one murder. If we have no murders, then I can understand. But don't tell me because we had 2 murders or we had 3 murders, well, it doesn't really matter because we didn't have the 6 that we had the previous year. You would think that 4 years into the term of a government, that they would have had sufficient time to roll out their own plans and programs. Because remember, the Labour Party, and Philip J. Pierre said he was more ready than Sir John Compton, Kenny Anthony, Von Lewis, Mikey Pilgrim, all those, Alan Shaftesbury, Stevenson King. He was the best prepared to be Prime Minister. And St. Lucia is in the worst situation it has ever been in its history as far as crime is concerned, the cost of living is concerned, and the road conditions. And Tim, I want to digress because the last time I called you, I got cut off. I guess it's where I was because I could only get through on WhatsApp. But the statements made by Minister King about the roads, attempting to blame CDB and the consultant for the slow implementation of the road project, Tim, wasn't the first set of complaints about the rain? Isn't that what the minister first said? That the rain had caused
the delay
in the implementation of the project? Tim, you know that whole Millennium Highway with the tunnels and everything, when it was done, when they had no road, they took about 3 years of construction. And we are going on to the 5th year of construction of repairs to the existing road. Now, Minister King accused the previous UWP administration of undermining his efforts as a minister. And Tim, you live in St. Lucia, and your NewsSpinners knows that a considerable amount of roadworks was done under the Alan Chasney-led UWP administration, of which Stevenson King was the minister. So that is maybe the minister who has served maybe the longest period as Minister of Infrastructure in St. Lucia, across 2 administrations. And now we are seeing the highest level of incompetence in road repairs. You see some of the potholing they did, Tim? Roads that need complete resurfacing, they are trying to pothole. They just pothole some places in Tiroshe. And I don't know whether they didn't put bitumen into the mix or whatever. But the stones, you would think is chip and spray they did on the road and not bitumen they use. There are more potholes forming after they have said that they repaired the road. I mean, Tim, this is crazy. The old people have something saying, lave la mesuyate. It looks like that is what the government is doing. You repair a road today and tomorrow the road needs repairing again. Who has checked on that road going to Bonsejour that Renault was given the contract for? Tim, have you driven that road lately?
No, not of late.
Okay. A road that was repaired less than a year ago has deteriorated so much. And you can go and see roads that was done on the UWP government 3 years ago, Tim. Not 3 years ago, 5 years ago. You come up the Forestier Road. That road was done way back in maybe 2010, not 2010, 2017 or thereabout. Almost 8 years. And the road is as solid as when the road was first built. You go around St. Lucia and you saw the roads that was done. We have the same minister. We have some of the same contractors involved. What is making the difference? Who is responsible for the difference that we are seeing in road implementation projects? And Tim, you saw all the accidents. Who was monitoring? Is it because there was a lack of police presence during the independence celebrations? What is it that caused so many road accidents and so many injuries? And Tim, sometimes we only report when people die. Do you know how many people are affected, crippled, unable to work, and all because of road fatalities and accidents on our roads? A lot of the shootings, the stabbings, and all of these have, so Virginia could easily come out and say something about the police and the negotiations. Did you play a statement from her? I don't listen to everything. Did you make a statement about these young ladies that have been killed?
No, initially no. I think the first time she spoke about it would have been during the pre-cabinet press briefing yesterday.
And look at how long this happened. Look at how long this happened. Young in this country. And I will close to the police and eventually suffered the loss. And how
the most monitored to you, members of the public. Stay with us.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all government and business. First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, Vieux Fort, 454-6555.
Lucia is transforming how you move. With our new electric vehicle charging stations, getting a quick and reliable charge is easier than ever. From Rodney Bay to Dennery, Vieux Fort and Soufriere, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge network offers both fast and standard charging options. Convenient, efficient, and always ready when you are. Just download the Flash Charge app from Google Play or the Apple App Store, and with a few simple taps, you can set up an account and link it to a credit card. Find a station or scan the QR code to start charging in seconds. Lucia is powering your journey and driving us toward a cleaner, greener future. Charge ahead with Lucilex EV stations. Lucia electric vehicle chargers, powering progress, energizing the future.
Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper from Thursday, 13th February 2025 and every Thursday.
St. Lucia, your Thursdays just got a whole lot better. After work, there's only one place to be. Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper Seafood Grill and Margarita Bar.
In Cruisley Town, that is Marie Therese Street.
Live DJ, fresh tacos, and island vibes. What more do you need? Tacos for just $10 plus 2-for-1 margaritas and mojitos to keep the good times flowing.
Thursdays is Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper.
You asked for it and you got
destiny. Detail. Don't wait. Rodney Bay or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Come on, Brenda. It's a shot down the road from our home.
About choice, but hurry.
See online or in store for more details.
Yes, Mr. Law, what is the situation? Because we're hearing that some police officers are on a sick out. Can you clear the air on this?
Timothy, as I've said before, we don't know that there is a seek out or that there is any organized seek out by police officers or by the Police Welfare Association. We have received reports that some police officers are reporting sick for various reasons. And so we're actually looking into it and trying to find out what really is affecting police officers at this point. And what I could tell you is, coming from our last in-person meeting, a lot of police officers were complaining of stress, so we're at this point looking into it to find out exactly what is the issue with police officers and to find a way to remedy it.
One of the issues that you have negotiations underway right now with the government negotiating team, and an area of concern for you is getting an allowance, reasonable allowance. What is the latest on this?
Before we go there, Tim, I want to clarify something because I heard the Minister of Labour made some comments as it relates to negotiations and the Police Welfare Association going public. Timothy, we have to defend our position when the Prime Minister makes certain statements about negotiations that are not accurate. And so he made those statements publicly, and we have to defend our position on it. Secondly, we have noticed, and these are things that we have lamented even to the GNT, that after every negotiation meeting, the information that was discussed, or what was discussed at the negotiations, shortly after, even before the Welfare Association addresses the members, would be made public through an anonymous profile on Facebook. And so it makes it very difficult. When these things happen, we have to take the opportunity and to defend our position publicly, because this person, whoever this person is, sits at the back of a computer anonymously and receives information directly from the negotiation meeting. That is unacceptable, and this is why the Police Welfare Association will continue to publicly speak on the issues as it relates to negotiations. Timothy, the very first thing that we tabled at our negotiation was a reclassification. And I want to say that because a lot of police officers have been calling me to tell me that there are persons from the highest offices of the police force, saying to the members that the Welfare Association could have requested a reclassification of the grades and the government would have looked at it favorably. Tim, this was the very first thing that we tabled at negotiations. We were informed by the GNT that they had not received a mandate to negotiate reclassification. As a matter of fact, it was said that the public service will be undertaking a reclassification, will be looking at the entire public service in terms of managing and reclassifying grades. So that this was off the table from the get-go. What the issue at this point is, Tim, police officers, for the most part, work in excess of 90 hours a week. And let's look at it. Look at all the police stations on the island. Look at the drug squad. Let's move forward from there. I must say that we, as the Police Welfare Association, have the government. So
suggested that you guys are being political because, I mean, people are looking at it from a particular prism, and that is from the perspective of Mr. Philip J. Pierre, not only as Prime Minister, but as political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And we have heard him touting a whole lot about...
and saying that you have given the most to the police as a government. Tim, the bottom line is we are at a position in terms of... We will forego any increase in the risk allowance and propose that the government affords every police officer a bulletproof vest within 6 months of signing the agreement. That was accepted, and we have gone past that stage. So politics have nothing to do with anything. This has nothing to do with the Prime Minister, the Labour Party, or the United Workers' Party. The fact is that for decades, as far back as I could remember, police have been working overtime without compensation. The fire service enjoys the very same duty allowance that we do. So does the Bodley Correctional Facility. The fire service is being paid an extra working hours allowance to represent overtime in the amount of $700. But we are being asked as the police to accept $150. How can we sit down and accept that? The police goes to work on a Friday in some instances, leaves on a Monday. And even when they get off on a Monday, they have to go to court. And when departments like the major crime, they do not rest, they have to be sleep as silently as possible, because any homicide throughout the country, they will be the ones to be called, and they have to leave their homes at any point in time of the night to find themselves on that scene and remain there sometimes up until 5 days straight investigating these matters. So we cannot now accept, Timothy, $150 a month to represent overtime for police officers. So politics aside, this has nothing to do with politics. The Welfare Association does not represent, neither do we speak for or is influenced by any politician on any side of the divide. We are about police officers, and we take our mandate, Timothy, from the members and nobody else.
You said that some of your colleagues, police officers on the island, are not feeling well at this point in time. They feel overwhelmed, etc. But what if the action result in criminal activities further exacerbating? We all know this has been happening over the past few years. We're now at 10 homicides already for this year. The actions of your members, don't you think this could only worsen the situation if it gets out of hand, if it continues?
Timothy, I think the police departments are now adequately staffed to handle any matter that may arise as it relates to criminal activity. I think the police is committed to ensuring that law and order prevails on the island, and we will continue to be committed. There are some persons, I just came from visited a police station a while ago, and you find police officers limping. Look at the Vieux Fort police station, for instance, Tim. This police station we have an air quality report from that police station that tells you that police station is unfit for persons to work from. And police officers, knowing that, still go in to perform the task. Even when they have the right to stay out of that station, they go in because they are committed, putting their own lives at risk medically to ensure that law and order prevails in the country. So I don't think the police at any time will do anything to cause there to be an upsurge in crime as it relates to the action.
Well, I was hoping that this whole issue can be settled amicably between the Police Welfare Association and the government negotiating team at the soonest opportunity, sir.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Yes.
I hope so too.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me turn my attention to Amanda and let's see what's happening in the chat room.
Someone says here, so when Cameron went on strike under UWP, was that political too? Cameron has been criticized by both parties, but the ultimate is that he is putting the best interest of his members first. Another comment, police officers may be genuinely sick. Mental fatigue is real. We shouldn't question their low morale and ill health. Another comment, that's an insult with the police officers. $150, sad. I stand with the police officers to St. Lucia. This is a hard job to do. Another comment reads, I miss the days of having community-based groups. They played a vital role in a child's upbringing. A few comments from earlier, someone says here, these are issues that affect everyone regardless of political affiliation. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force should tell the people why there was no follow-up. Another comment, let's say how Richard Frederick will advise the commissioner to handle such an investigation on how the officers failed that man since he was so keen on publicly advising him on the officer who was guarding Shaftney. Another comment reads, there is no law in St. Lucia. Citizens are not safe in St. Lucia. Too many murderers and criminals walking free. Someone says here the Prime Minister doesn't know what is going on in St. Lucia. The Prime Minister is saying something else and the Minister is saying something else. Shake my head.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, Mr. Josie, good afternoon to you. What's on your mind?
I like when you call my name, you don't want me to say anything in secret, but that's okay. I'm not a secretive person when it comes to matters concerning St. Lucia. A couple of weeks ago, Timothy, I happened to be in a certain space where I listened to a woman calling what makes me mad. And one of her complaints, in fact, her main complaint was that we have become so passive in St. Lucia that so many things are happening in terms of law and order. People are breaking the law. And we don't have voices being raised against it. As if people are not complaining. And it was interesting, and that is the reason I'm calling, because that's exactly what you said this morning. When I walked into my home, I picked up your radio station, and that's exactly what you said. A lot of people are passive, as if they're afraid, etc., etc. But what makes matters worse, and what had me to call this morning, is that when I returned here, and you were just about starting, I was at a particular office in Castries, as a private office, and a guy walked up to me and said, Mr. Josie, how are you? You're Peter Josie? I said, yes. And he said, that's the first time I'm shaking your hand. I'm so and so and so. There's no need to call the person's name. And I thought it was very interesting because the next thing he said to me, I used to listen to yourself and Odlum and company and people like that. You all used to talk about the issues that are affecting the people of St. Lucia. In those days, you were a young person. All of us were younger. But now I don't hear anybody talking about this in St. Lucia. It was almost the same thing this woman was saying 2 weeks ago. And it had an impact on me because I told him, you know what, tomorrow, God willing, I am going to be at a particular radio station. I think you know which one, Sky FM with Champagne. And I'm going to raise and discuss this matter. But when I heard you mention this, I said, I must call you and give an opinion. What the lady was talking about and what this young man told me today is as a result of people in St. Lucia who know better, who are intelligent enough to make a difference in the talk shows and in the country, are keeping very quiet. For what reason, I don't know. But I promised myself, I don't care how old I become, once God gives me a voice and I am in St. Lucia, I have no plans to go and live anywhere else. I will always be here, except taking a vacation to go and see my children and grandchildren overseas. But what I decided to do this morning is to say part of the reason we are that way is exactly what I just told you. People who know better, everybody's thinking about themselves. Even the religious people, and I talk about all of the religious leaders, they go and do what they have to do on the weekend, but these people are not about helping the poor, helping the dispossessed, helping the ignorant rather, helping the lame, the blind, those who cannot help themselves. And that is the main problem we have now. Whereas in my younger days, when we were on the market steps and all over St. Lucia, what we were doing was not politicking per se, but opening people's eyes to what has happened to us as a former colonial country. And we have still not escaped it, because now people have raised the matter. The University of the West Indies, I believe, one of the professors in Barbados is leading the charge for people to pay reparations to people who were slaves from Africa taken in chains to these islands, to Brazil, to America, etc., etc. And nothing is being said or done about it. We have to demand it, not as people who are mendicants and begging, but to show that that kind of slave mentality to some extent is still affecting our minds. We are afraid to speak. We are celebrating 46 years of independence. The people who are supposed to be leading us as a society which is determined to become emancipated and leave all this nonsense about white and black and things. So if we are truly emancipated, we would consider ourselves, no matter how brown or black or yellow or white we are, as equal to every other man. Especially when it comes to law and order, we have to obey the laws of our country and try to contribute to the development of the country. And the way you can do that is to enlighten people, to broaden their minds, to explain things to them. And it doesn't always have to be partisan politics. And I'm telling you something that very few other people will tell you, especially those who claim to be religious. Unless you understand and agree and have followed the life of Jesus Christ and the things he said, especially in the New Testament, the miracles, the people he helped, the blind to see, he even raised the dead. Unless we understand that, and even some of the prophets who lived hundreds of years before Jesus or thousands of years, what they said, and all of the things were pointing to loving your neighbor as you love yourself. In fact, those who say that they are Christian and follow the teachings of the Bible and Jesus Christ will know that the very first law that God gave to Moses was to obey God and love God. The second was love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love is the foundation on which we have to build. And that is what is lacking in St. Lucia. When a brother can kill another brother, this is not only lacking love, it's lacking humanity. It's like that person is no longer a human being. Animals can do that for food. Human beings are not supposed to behave that way if we know exactly how we came about and what we are following in terms of religion, education, philosophy for life, psychology, whatever you want to call it. It's important that we raise our voices. I am reluctant to do that because I am partial politically, but I'll be honest with you. I believe the Prime Minister of St. Lucia has a point when we say that we are passive, the place is saying it's not a lawful place as such. There's a lot of crime and things so. But compared to the nonsense his government has done in this country in the last 3.5 years or so, he's right to say that. Because in a country where people were determined and they were man and woman enough to stand on their own feet, these guys could not walk in the town that they were doing. They couldn't. And I'm not talking any kind of violence or anything, but somebody would teach them a lesson. And whatever supporters they have would have to match support versus those who oppose them. Right? So once you see the guy can lie to you, even in the negotiations going there, say what they want. And I was so happy that Tyrone is no longer active. The National Workers Union responded to him in terms of the negotiations. And you see this woman running out and putting her mouth in this thing. Some of these people believe that some of us have short memories. We remember them. We remember how they stood against negotiations and against unions and what they said. Sometimes we just don't say anything. They think we are stupid sometimes because we don't speak every day or we don't raise our voices. But as long as I have a voice in this St. Lucia, I will never be quiet. Whether it's you, Tim, and I don't like to call your radio station. I don't. I really don't. I prefer to go on Wednesday, tomorrow with champagne, or do other things. My thing is the public platform. We have to go out and open, show people and speak what is affecting us. I ain't hiding behind no radio station or no television. And man will better man. People think it's only one set of people that have guns and that can shoot. Unless we come to that stage in St. Lucia where they say, listen, we are coming to a public meeting today and nobody is coming near that platform to talk any nonsense. Because we will have our people there too. You understand? We have to get to that stage where all the bad boys think that they're in government now, they can call police and things so. We have to show these people, especially that one I'm referring to, who is bad, who is badder, and who is worse, if you understand my English. That is what I had to say to you, Timothy, and I'm glad I got an opportunity to say it. We, and the lady was right, as I said 2 weeks ago on that show, What Makes Me Mad? We have to raise our voices in our country. 46 years of independence and you behaving like mendicants still. You don't even know how to celebrate independence. All they're doing is making pappy show out of people. You understand? What benefits have the government said that we have gained and have become a better people since independence? What did they say about that? Did you hear anybody talk about that? Anyway, Timothy, I didn't want to take so much of your time,
all right,
but
sir.
I had to express myself in the only way I know fit to do it, and that is with passion for my country and for my people, especially the poor and suffering, those who cannot help themselves. I don't interfere in the union thing. You know why? The police have a job already. They will get a salary. The civil servants are working. People who are working and who can be represented by trade unions, they should say, thank God. But somebody must represent those who are looking for work and cannot find. The young people who believe that all this government is doing is stealing and corrupting everybody in society. These children and the young people must be assisted to see the light and to get them ready when the time comes to start kicking some backside in the next election. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. You just heard there from former government minister, Mr. Peter Juicy. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, some more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and we'll be going through some of your discussions in the chat room.
on High Street in Castries is having a massive clearance sale. Prices have been slashed by so much, it's ridiculous. We're talking 30 to 60% off on electrical and plumbing from now until stocks last. Yes, that means you. Whether it's a do-it-yourself fixer-upper or a full household project, come in and save big with Browell. There's never been a better time to come down to Browell for savings on electrical and plumbing. See you there. Sale on until stocks last. We're located next to the courthouse and electoral office.
Lucia is transforming how you move. With our new electric vehicle charging stations, getting a quick and reliable charge is easier than ever. From Rodney Bay to Dennery, Vieux Fort and Frere, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge network offers both fast and standard charging options. Convenient, efficient, and always ready when you are. Just download the Flash Charge app from Google Play or the Apple App Store, and with a few simple taps, you can set up an account and link it to a credit card. Find a station or scan the QR code to start charging in seconds. Lucia is powering your journey and driving us toward a cleaner, greener future. Charge ahead with Lucilex EV stations. Lucia electric vehicle chargers, powering progress, energizing the future.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
St. Lucia, it's time to celebrate 46 years of independence with a big deal from KFC. Introducing the KFC Independence Big Box, packed with all your favorites for just $46. You get 5 delicious undipped wings with 1 sauce, 1 zinger or big crunch sandwich, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 refreshing 16-ounce sodas. Perfect for sharing or keeping all to yourself, because independence is all about choice. But hurry, this big deal is only available from February 1st to February 28th. Get your Independence Big Box today, only at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, at La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full-body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Watch this view, yeah. If you missed it, yeah, itchy nose.
The St. Lucia National Cricket Association Prime Minister's Cup is back. It's going down at 4 venues: PI, Philip Masler Grounds, Rosalie, and Mindu Philip Park. Games will be played both day and night. Will the champions Grosley defend their title, or will we see a newly crowned champion this year? Teams taking part: last year's champion Grosley, runners-up Central Castries, South Castries, Babano, Monrepo, Micoud, Soufre, Vieux Fort North, Vieux Fort South, Denry, Choiseul, Babia Valley, and Deriso. This tournament bowls off on February 18th with defending champions Grosley coming up against Babano at 7 p.m. on the Grosley playing field. Games will be played from 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. Come out and support your favorite team. It's the St. Lucia National Cricket Association Prime Minister's Cup coming to a venue near you. Who's gonna emerge champions this year?
Get ready for the all-in independence sale at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt. Enjoy 25% off store-wide on small appliances, housewares, tools, and so much more. Plus, don't miss out on our amazing doorbuster deals from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's the perfect time to save on your favorite brands. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Visit us at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt, island-wide from February 27th to March 2nd for the all-in independence sale event. Terms and conditions may apply. See online or in-store for more.
The best of the best from the Caribbean are coming to St. Lucia for the AMBC Caribbean Boxing Championships. February 28th to March 2nd. Come see the region's finest youth, amateur, and elite boxers in action at the Boseju Indoor Facility under the theme Stronger Together. 8 countries, over 100 boxers, punches in bunches. Who will reign supreme? Come support Team St. Lucia at the AMBC Caribbean Boxing Championships from February 28th to March 2nd at the Boseju Indoor Facility from 7 p.m. nightly. Admission only $20. This event is sponsored by the National Lotteries Authority, Ministry of Youth Development and Sport, and the Government of St. Lucia. This one will be a knockout.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Committed my attention to our NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads: Australia, New Zealand record highest breast cancer rates in the world. Australia, New Zealand record highest breast cancer rates in the world. Your NewsSpin news of the day. And we turn our attention now to a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
And good afternoon, Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, I would like to talk on the issue of what happened in Vieux Fort on Sunday regarding, I don't know if you're aware that there was an incident regarding a motorcycle and some spectators.
Yes.
Now, I want to empathize with the victims of that incident. But I also want to question, why was that event held in that venue where it was held? Because if you know Vieux Fort very well, that thing was held on the promenade, starting on the junction near Hobbies and going down towards Bruceville. And at the end of where the bikers would have ended their stunts or whatever they did, there were metal barriers, and immediately behind the metal barriers, there were spectators there. That is madness, Tim. That should never have been allowed to happen. And those, the authorities who gave the organizers the permission to do that thing, I think they owe the public an explanation as to how they arrived at that decision.
Because first of all, I think among the entities you must get permission from would be the National Emergency Management Organization, among others.
Exactly.
And also having those barriers there, even as individuals, people who are very much concerned about their own safety and the possibility of a motorcycle crashing into those barriers and you being impacted, I think the owner also being on members of the public to ensure that they were very much far from the barriers. But I think also you have to ask questions of the authorities as far as giving the organizers permission to have this in that particular location.
Now, Tim, that event apparently used to be held on the Kakabeth before.
Mm-hmm.
And there was safety measures in place on the Kakabeth in terms of tires, I understood, to be a buffer and to, if there were any accidents, to absorb the impact. And at the Kakabeth, there was enough space on runway C, which is the proper name for it. I think that's a 14-lane high former runway. And there was enough space on either side to accommodate the spectators. And there is nowhere in the world where you're going to have any race, where you're going to have a barrier or concrete something at the end. If it's for the safety of the vehicles or the runners or whatever that is. But that is exactly what happened in Vieux Fort. Now, one has to question, why wasn't the main highway used? The junction, that same junction by Hobbies, up to, let's say, about Uptown. That is a long enough stretch. It was wide enough where spectators could have been accommodated on either side of the road. And all they would have to do was to divert the traffic coming into Vieux Fort via that road into Bruceville. And the traffic leaving Vieux Fort, they would have gone through Bruceville the same way. Now, that road would have been better for an event like that. It would have been wider, and they could have accommodated spectators on either side, even with barriers. But then, you see, there's also an economic interest in for the organizers of that whole trim. Because there is a business place, a bar, on the promenade, which had to be accommodated in what happened there. And I'm only asking the question whether the safety of the spectators was compromised to accommodate business for that bar. That is a question I am asking. Thank you very much, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Let's see what's happening in the chat room again. Amanda, can you provide us with an update?
A few comments from earlier. Someone says here, I will keep pressuring these so-called women leaders to come out and denounce the violence against women and the murders of our young women. Another comment, a long one actually, it says, I am deeply frustrated with Virginia Albert Poyot's lack of response on critical issues, particularly those affecting women and workers. There is a clear pattern of her prioritizing political narratives over addressing urgent matters with genuine empathy and action. Her decision to scoff at the PWA's choice to negotiate separately from the TUF is nothing more than a political sidestep, dismissing the real struggles of officers on the ground. Even more alarming is her deafening silence on gender-based violence. She claims to champion women's rights, yet when women are being brutalized and murdered, she remains silent. If she truly stands for women, she should be leading the charge, not conveniently looking for the other way. A minister with international experience should be proactive, informed and committed to all the people she serves. But instead of putting the people first, she is more focused on protecting the victory at all costs, even if it means turning a blind eye to suffering. Stop sacrificing lives for politics. Enough is enough. Come next election, we must right this wrong. Virginia Albert Poyot must be held accountable. Her silence and inaction have consequences. Another comment reads, who is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia? Because it looks like all the ministers are Prime Ministers. Everyone is doing and saying whatever they please. I want to know who is the boss. Can somebody explain, please? Another comment here, St. Lucians are so tamed that a motorcycle was heading directly into a crowd and the people didn't understand that they were in danger. And that's it for me, Tim.
Thank you so much for this, your final update. Let's take a final call. I think it's on the line. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, say for the past couple of days you all have some good shows. And I'm enjoying it. And I listened to Virginia Albert Poyot. When she was in opposition, they didn't have an out. When the St. Lucia Labour Party won the general elections, the independents, they went to, Dubai. How much billions of dollars was spent? And then in St. Lucia, yes, it's St. Lucia independent, but it doesn't look like we had independence in our own backyard. And now you're telling me, Tim, with 2.5% increase, inflation has gone way up, that I would never expect that things in St. Lucia would have get hard with that Labour government. And to make it worse, we don't give the policeman licks left, right, and center, but the truth to the matter is the people are human beings just like us. Why is the politician enjoying VIP and spending money widely? These people have a family, their mortgage to pay. And common law, he said it exactly the way he had to say it. If the fire, I don't have no problem with the fire service team, but the truth to the matter is, they deserve what they get. Why can't the Royal St. Lucia Police Force cannot get the very same thing, Tim? If it's good for one, it's good for all. When the St. Lucia Labour Party, they were embraced by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Now, they shoot them on the other side. You don't want to give it for that what's due to them? Mr. Pierre, let me tell you something. You're the Prime Minister for all. Give the people what they deserve. And first and foremost, I remember when Kenny Anthony was by the arcade and civil servant was protesting for the increase. What did he say? Give the people their money. So Philip J. Pierre, what goes around comes around. Give the people their money. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. And that's our final caller for today. This has been another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. Please join us tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, for another edition of the program. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.